What's up, everybody? Brant Phillips with Real Estate Fundamentals. So today we're going to talk about mobile home parks. You've been hearing me talk quite a bit about mobile home parks and some of the ventures that I've taken on in the last couple of years with actually an RV park, multiple mobile home parks. I really began diving into the mobile home park business model years after doing, hundreds and hundreds of single family deals. So what I'm going to be talking about today is why I bought a mobile home park and really why I've bought several since then. Okay. And so I did a local presentation recently to an investment group. And so I cut this down just a few slides. I'm going to share just a few things that really compelled me to take action and begin, first bought my first mobile home park. And like I said, since then we've bought several since then. The question is, why would I do that? Right. So, because I know that there's the stigma, there's all this negativity around mobile home parks, trailer parks, whatever you want to call them. I'm just going to lay out kind of my story, what led me to go down the mobile home park investing trail, and just give you some things to consider if it's something that you're considering investing in, adding to your portfolio and whatnot. So going back briefly about my story, right? So I've been investing 14, almost 15 years now. Started out with single family. I've done hundreds of single family homes. I've always been very, very happy with single family. And it's been very good to me and my family and my business. But I started noticing some things, okay? I started noticing some things, and I'm going to switch to a new slide here. Started sensing and changing things, changes in the industry, changes in my market were really big. I knew some other investors, had a good friend of mine as well who was investing in mobile homes on land, and mobile home parks. And it was piquing my curiosity, right? Because I knew some very, very smart individuals who were investing in mobile homes and mobile home parks. And I'm like, you know what? There's probably something to this because these people are really, really smart. They're very, very successful. So let me just start doing some research. So that's how it all began for me, right? I just started doing some research, going online, reading. I did read a couple of books about it, and I liked, everything that I was beginning to discover and learn and see. And here was a Forbes article I found, and it started kind of talking, about comparing like the mobile home park model to multifamily and some other asset classes. And you can see it here, like lower cost per unit, lower cost for repairs and maintenance. You're able to spread out your risk. Demand is incredibly high. You hear me talk on this channel a lot about affordable housing, and the demand has never been higher, right? And it's probably only going to increase. There's less tenant turnover. You're dealing with mom and pop owners, which is really, really advantageous to us as investors when it comes to negotiating deals and getting deals cheap, getting owners with a lot of equity and things like that, just working with good people. And there's a lot less competition, right? It's much more difficult to finance and come up with the capital to close on a mobile home park versus a single family, fix and flip. It's a whole different ball game. This was the biggest eye opener for me. Okay. When I talked about really, really smart people being in the industry, this is what caught my attention the most. All right. So we all know Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett owns Clayton Homes, which is the #1 manufacturer of mobile homes. And he also owns 21st Century Mortgage, which is the largest financier of mobile homes in the world. And so I'm like, Warren Buffett sees, is heavily vested into this industry, not so much parks though, but to the homes themselves and the financing of the homes. So he's heavily invested though into the asset class. But the gentleman on the right that you see, Sam Zell, was what really got my attention. So I read Sam's book, and if you're not familiar with Sam Zell, he's probably like the greatest real estate, entrepreneur ever. And he's owned everything: commercial, multifamily, storage, you name it, skyscrapers, malls, everything, residential. He's done it and he's done it on a massive grand scale. Well, there was a very, very interesting story that I heard about Sam when he bought his first mobile home park. And basically, the situation was one of his companies was buying another company. And I think this was like a, couple $100 million transaction to acquire this company. And they were going through all the assets that the company owned. And that company happened to own a mobile home park. So he asked one of his executives, he said, hey, I need you to go out there, fly out there and figure out what we need to do to get rid of this mobile home park. Because obviously we don't want to own a mobile home park. This was like in the 80s, right? And so he sent his guy out, went out, take a look at the park, dug into the financials, all that kind of stuff. And he said, Sam, you're not going to believe this. And he's like, what? Is it worse than we thought? He's like, no, it's like, I've never seen anything like it. This thing's like print and cash. It's an ATM machine. So they started really, really looking at the model and they loved it. And so they obviously kept that property and they began acquiring more and more mobile home parks. But here's the interesting thing. And I also heard that since this time, over the years, that Sam and his various companies have sold off more than half of their multifamily assets. They've sold off half their commercial, more than half of their commercial property, skyscrapers, things like that. Yet they've never sold a mobile home park. They've never sold one. So just think about that. That was, whenever I read that, when I learned that, I was like, I've got to go down this rabbit hole, right? I've just got to give this a shot and test this out for myself. So that was my biggest eye opener, where I'm like, all right, let's go do this. So let's talk about the scarcity factor. So it says mobile home parks are becoming an endangered species nationwide. This was another very, very compelling factor for me. And I'm just going to read it. It says virtually every city in the U.S. has effectively banned new construction of mobile home parks since the 1970s. As a result, there are only roughly 10 built per year in the entire nation, while there are many times that are torn down, is what that meant to say, each year for redevelopment. This has created an environment in which the total number of mobile home parks in America declines monthly. Okay, the total number, I'm going to read that again, the total number of mobile home parks in America declines monthly. Okay, think about that. Think about supply and demand. Okay, if you are investing in residential, you're investing in multifamily, you're investing in self-storage, think about supply and demand. Every month there's supply being added to the market, right? Hopefully demand is growing, but there's months and there's years where demand does not grow, but supply grows. This is not good. Okay, this is not good as a business owner, right? As a real estate investor, an entrepreneur, a developer. If you're developing a product and the supply is increasing and demand is decreasing, right? It's not good. So that was the difference with mobile home parks, is that most cities will not allow new parks. Number one is stigma. But number two, and it's the real reason, they don't generate a lot of tax for revenue for the city, right? If someone moves into a mobile home and they've got 2 or 3 kids, it's costing the school district, $5,000 to $8,000 or whatever it is per kid, probably more than that, depending on where you're at, to educate a child per year. And that mobile home is bringing in like maybe $1,000 of tax revenue for the city. That's not a good situation for them. So that's really the real reason, right? And then a lot of times for mobile home park developers, it just doesn't make sense financially to pay a high cost for land, dirt inside of the city, whenever there's typically higher, better uses for that dirt in terms of income. So basically this just leads to that supply and demand factor that is very, very advantageous to us as mobile home park owners, is that each and every year the number of mobile home parks are decreasing, right? Because they're being sold off, redeveloped to other things, right? So this was really the blue ocean opportunity. All right, there's a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. And it just, in my market, single family was that red ocean, where at the time of this recording, and this is mid 2021, we have not had a correction in the Texas real estate market since 2008. Like, real estate, single family has just been going up and up and up and up. And so when asset class goes up and up and up and up, people like, the sharks are here, right? Everybody in the world is a real estate investor. Everybody in the world is coming to Texas to buy a real estate. So when we go purchasing a family home, it's not anything unheard of to be competing against 10 or 12 other, real estate investors. This happens all the time. And we're still buying homes, yes, but it's just becoming more and more difficult, more and more costly. So I began looking at a blue ocean, like a blue ocean opportunity with less competition, less sharks in the water, the blue ocean strategy. And this was what mobile home parks were for me. So here's some things to look at. Here's some things to consider, mobile home parks. Like I've mentioned, limited supply, less competition. There is a demand for affordable housing, and the greatest thing that we do as entrepreneurs in general is solve problems, and affordable housing is a problem. This is a great solution. This is a cash flow play, right? It's a cash flow and equity play, but it's cash flow, guys, and you always have to invest. If you're investing for cash flow and receiving positive cash flow, you're therefore building, theoretically, a sustainable business model. Fix and flip model is not always sustainable. It's definitely not a cash flow model. It's cash flow intensive. You're getting long-term tenants. These people are not moving very rarely, I would say, right? Like even though they're called mobile homes, once they're set, they are typically not 80% or something like that are never going to move again, right? So they're really not that mobile. Higher collection rates, right? People, they're not going to find really anything cheaper than this. So that's another reason where we have a high retention rate of residents, and they're not moving out and they're paying their rent because they don't have anywhere else to go, right? And we're really talking about lot rent. Drastically lower eviction rates. This is an easier model to scale than single family homes, right? I've tried scaling single family, not much luck, not much success to a certain level. And I've just determined where single family is very difficult to scale. It's not something I really want to scale that big. Mobile home parks, if you've got 25, 50, 100, 150 homes in one area with one manager, very easy to manage, very easy to scale. Less maintenance and operating expenses. And once again, it's more difficult to finance for a lot of investors. You may be thinking, oh, this is a negative thing. It's actually a really good thing because it gives us an advantage over the masses, and it's very easy to finance houses. Like I said, not so much with mobile home parks, right? This is where you just have to sharpen your saw a little bit and get good at raising private money, putting syndications together, or just coming up with the cash or creative finance to get these deals closed. So here's mobile home park investing 101. And the reason I have the slide down here because I was going into my particular case study. But this is what the ideal way to invest in mobile home parks is. Number one is we own the land. They own the home, right? We're not buying mobile homes to keep as rentals. We do owner finance some, but we want them to own the home and just pay us lot rent. We're going to provide and maintain the infrastructure, utilities, roads, lighting, signage. In regards to utilities is big. It doesn't mean that we're paying for the utilities. It means we're providing them the utility service, that there's going to be water, electricity, and sometimes gas, stubbed out and available for their home that they can pay for. We're also going to take care of the roads, any lighting or signage in the community, general common area maintenance, if there's a park, if there's some picnic tables and things like that. And we're going to enforce community rules and laws and really help create the community. And that's something that I've experienced a lot of doing, quote unquote turnarounds, of getting some of the riffraff out, some of the people who just don't belong, and really giving people that clean, safe, affordable place to call home and feel really good about. And that's one of the big things we do, guys, is just drive community. So this was a closing statement that I had. It's not the last slide, but when you're investing in mobile home parks, we're benefiting, we're creating wealth, we're creating cash flow and things like that for ourselves when we invest the right way. If you do this the wrong way, guys, it's not all sunshine and roses. Let me just tell you that. But when you do it the right way, you're improving, right? Local community, giving people an opportunity for home ownership in a community they can be proud to call home. You're creating affordable housing. Guys, already now in several different small municipalities and cities that we're working in, I've met personally with the mayors, city planners, things like that, and they've seen what they're doing, and they're so happy that we've kind of taken an eyesore. Some of these dilapidated houses, we've got them out. Some of the rundown houses that are repairable, we fixed them up. We've cleaned up the road, signage, all that type of stuff. And it's like a really feel good. It's a really good feel good investment as well. And there's obviously a lot of compelling reasons financially. So those are the reasons that I decided to buy a mobile home park. For you, you're just gonna have to figure that out yourself. I've shot a lot of videos here on real estate fundamentals, so make sure you subscribe. Make sure you watch some other videos that I've put. I've got a couple of case studies and redevelopments in progress as we speak. We've got some parks. We've got some affordable housing communities is what I call them. We're actually selling the homeowners the land as well via owner financing and allowing them just become 100% homeowners themselves. And it's very rewarding. It's very fulfilling, and I'm just doing my best to share this with you guys. So if you guys like what you're hearing here, I appreciate the hitting the subscribe button, liking everything, and posting your comments. Be happy, more than happy to answer those and help you guys out along the path if you're considering investing in a mobile home park. You guys take care.